my brain expands when you create, when you are doing something new. And I love to do that. And music allows me to connect with that moment of expansion, of creation.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Why Music Matters podcast. I'm your host, music journalist and musician Jeff Myers. Throughout my life in and around music, I've often asked myself the question, why does music matter? This podcast will attempt to answer that question with the help of musicians, members of the music industry, and music lovers like you. Today on Why Music Matters, I spend some time with Fernanda Lastra of the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra. Hired as Conductor Diversity Fellow by the orchestra in September of 2022, Fernanda quickly made her mark, combining her fiery presence at the podium with a passion for community engagement, overseeing the BPO Kids and Music for Youth programs, working as cover conductor for Maestro JoAnn Falletta, and serving as a member of the BPO Diversity Council. In recognition of her abundant talent, the BPO extended Fernanda's contract as Diversity Fellow and promoted her to Assistant Conductor of the orchestra in October of this year. Born and raised in Argentina and a graduate of the Penn State School of Music, Fernanda has led orchestras around the U.S., in Argentina, and in Brazil. Along the way, she's gained keen insight into the power music holds to connect us and speak to our better selves. Welcome to Why Music Matters, Fernanda Lastra. Well, welcome to the podcast, Fernanda Lastra.
Thank you.
To Buffalo, although you've been here for a little while now.
Yeah.
We're happy to have you, and congratulations on your promotion to assistant director, conductor.
You.
I'm sorry. This is wonderful, and I'm curious about how this will work into what you've already been doing. As a diversity fellow.
Correct. Yes.
Can you talk about the significance of diversity and inclusion when it comes to music's role in bringing communities together?
Of course. Yeah, I think it's super important representation, and to reflect in the orchestra what is outside in the community. And I am very proud to be part of this idea of the Diversity Council that is a 3 years plan.
Yes.
And they have been developing this idea program even before me. So, it's very important, and I am honored to be part of the program and as part of the Latino community as well.
So your work in this area, I know even before you came to the BPO, is something that's, concerned you, the connection between music and community building. What have you noticed about Buffalo in your time here so far? It seems like there's a lot of meaningful work in that area to be done here.
Yeah, no, the city is super diverse. What I mostly love is go to a store and hear different languages around me that I don't understand. I love it, and it's an immersive experience in different cultures, and also the sense of community, because all of us, we are different, but at the same time we are Buffalonians.
Yes,
and I think this you can sense. It was my first time living in Buffalo before the BPO, and I can sense that that community, that sense of community that people have, good neighbors. Is that label is not for nothing. I received help from people I didn't know, like removing snow in the big snowstorm, for instance. And all sorts of little helps that, no one asks you or ask themselves, do I know you? Should I help you? No, just they are giving, they are givers. Buffalonians are givers. And I love that. And the fact that we come from different backgrounds, and there are different languages, different foods. It's a whole beautiful experience to be here.
Do you feel that, in speaking to JoAnn Falletta and to Daniel Hart from the BPO,
Yeah.
I know that making that very diverse population feel part of the community that the BPO represents has been
Yeah,
a
it
real
comes from the
ongoing
top.
concern.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit, about how you've maybe seen that develop while you've been here? I know your rise has been very quick here. It's
Yes,
been
1 year. Yeah,
not a year and a half, not
a
even.
year.
It's
Yes,
2022.
yes. And we had a beautiful concert 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. I conducted for the Hispanic Heritage
Yes.
Month. We brought an artist, a Latino artist from Mexico, Aida Cuevas, and I was concerned a little bit because all the songs were in Spanish, and she was speaking in Spanish. And then talking with people in the lobby the week after, English speakers, they were saying, "Oh, we were fascinating that anyone was speaking English. It was like completely immersive experience in the culture. We loved her, and it was magical because we had many people from Mexico and from Montreal, from Venezuela, from different countries. She's really a pop star, she's a big star. They knew all the lyrics, so people were singing along with her. And the following, it was not the following week, but that past weekend we had a gospel experience. It was my first gospel experience ever, because I never went to New York to experience in a church. So for me, it was very touching. I was crying most of the times to see, again, people singing, knowing the songs, dancing, celebrating together. The United Choir that has been together since February, they are part of 52 different churches and organizations. Is part of as well of the IDEA program and of the BPO commitment to diversity and inclusion. And on Saturday, that was Friday. On Saturday we had Stephen Schwartz and the Broadway. So all this experience is different, and every single experience is so rich and powerful, right? Because at least for me, that I am not from this country, I can say it's always a discoverment. And I believe that for people who are from this country and we bring an artist like Aida Cuevas, let's say, it's a discoverment. Because if you don't go to Houston or LA or even Mexico, you don't get to see her. And we brought her here. And it was a beautiful experience.
I love that you had an exposure and an experience with gospel music here, because I think that is such a big part of the musical gumbo that is Buffalo, and maybe not talked about quite as much as it should be. But gospel music made in churches here in Buffalo, the level of musicianship and talent is so high. And a program like this, the goal obviously is to welcome these people to the table who have lived in that world.
Yeah, and we had local artists performing as soloists with our guest artists and sharing stage with the chorus and the orchestra and members of all the churches and families and friends, and it was really, really touching to be there.
Beautiful.
Everyone knew each other, when you see in the lobby people hugging and say, "Oh, hello, how is your mom?" And everyone knows each other, and it's beautiful, really.
Yeah, it is beautiful, and it's obviously this kind of thing exists other places too, but it's such an important part of Buffalo, I feel, and it's wonderful to see that celebrated.
Yes.
The power of music to connect people and elevate them has been a theme of your career. I feel like, prior to the BPO, through all of your work everywhere. But where does your passion for this idea come from? And when did you first realize that music had the power to speak to our better selves, and both individually and as a collective?
Yeah. Well, I was one of those kids that went to school with in a day off, and you go to the orchestra and you go to see and I was touched first by that. So by a community education program by an orchestra back in Argentina. It's different, but it's the same thing. I mean, we don't have programs per se, but we have concerts like for kids in the mornings, like here. Maybe you see the same or a repertoire, a repertoire from the canon. Here we have visuals and maybe an actor or on stage is different. But still, for me, was very touching because being in the theater, the smell of the theater, the lights. When the lights go, down and the show starts and the curtains open and all that expectation, and you go, wow! Being a kid is beautiful to see all that. Then. Well, as I grew up, I always have been close to music. And I was singing in choirs for more than I sang in choirs first. And my first approach to music was singing. Let's say as a kid in a kids chorus at school, and then when I grew up, I went into a teenager chorus, and then my breaking moment was when I participated in a chorus that we did Beethoven's Ninth. So singing, I was 15 at that time, and it was like a moment of like wow realization that the orchestra, the sound mostly, and being, we were sitting behind of the timpani, and the chorus,
dramatic,
the chorus sings in the fourth movement. So I had 3 movements to really see the conductor very well and what he was doing with the orchestra and all that sounds and all that magic and that was the moment. And then, I decided to pursue a career in music. But then I moved to another city and I studied, and the rest is history. I continued. But I think the community engagement comes from being myself touched first as a community member, and even like to see people be transformed through music. When I was in Argentina, I was running my own ensemble. I ran it for 4 years, and I had people coming after the concert saying, "Oh, I had a headache before I came, and it's gone, and it's such a wonderful energy to be here." And I learned because I was always explaining what we are going to listen, or sometimes I ask them to to do some rhythms or to sing something. People were, what are we doing? But to engage in some sort of activity that they can experience with the body.
Them to it,
because once it's different. If you tell someone something that than if you make to do something with their bodies, because our bodies have memory as well. So if you can put them in their cells, how it feels to sing a chord. For instance, now we are doing with the little ones in our educational programs in the mornings. One of the section in the concert is we ask the kids to sing together a chord, and I don't know if you explain a kid what is a chord, you can explain,
it's a root, a third, a fifth, and some form of seventh.
3 sounds sounding together, blah, blah. But if you ask them to sing and to experience and to listen, and that's, it's a printing in their cells. And
that's a really good way to say it. I believe that. And you become... not a spectator then, right?
You are
And
owner.
it moves from purely intellectual, someone explaining it to you, to a blend of physical and intellectual.
Yeah. And I love to make people sing or do some rhythms or something that they can experience the music. Even listening is sometimes you experience emotions and it reflects in your body. Yes. We know that we have emotions in our stomach. You know, sometimes you've experienced in your stomach like all the joy or anguish or something, any other emotion, and
tension and release and all
yes,
that.
Yes. Yeah. So
sorry about that.
Yeah. So it's I really love as much as I can, like, connect with the audiences and try to pass this what I feel with music. Try to pass to them.
I've always found this to be a sort of interesting discussion that is ongoing, and people on both sides of it. But I wondered what you thought. There are people who say that, quote, anyone can be musical, anyone can make music. There's the other argument that you need to be born with it. And I guess it's the nature or nurture argument. But in your experience, do you believe that anyone can make music? Obviously, there are different degrees of how well or how intensely they get into it. But
yeah, I think everyone can make music. And then pursuing that as a professional career is
different
another story.
Right, of course.
As anything in life. But I think we're rhythmical per se. We have a heart, and it's hopefully is very steady.
Yes, that's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal. And also we have our voices, and as we speak, we are doing music as well, because we have inflections, we have ups and downs, phrasing, dynamics. So I think everyone can make music, even we are making music without knowing it, because even I don't know, opening the when you brush your teeth in the morning, you open the water, and that sound is I will not say is music. We cannot codify that but we are making sounds all the time. Then if we can pay attention to them, there are lower sounds and higher sounds, and we can combine them. Well, percussionists know a lot about all different timbres, we have in our hands. But yes, I absolutely think we can all make music in different ways. Yeah.
In my experience, which is entirely less formal than yours, but in working with younger musicians, which I did informally as my son was young and growing up. We were our home is a very musical one, and I was always urging his friends from a young age to, all of this is here. I have something like this in my basement with all, drums, keyboards, guitars, etc. I always found that young people responded so well to it, and the big thing that I feel they learned, whether they end up pursuing music further than that or not, most of them did eventually, but was how to have an individual voice, but also to work that individual voice into something bigger than yourself. And I know, the Music for Youth program, you've been highly involved in, and not just here. I mean, before you came to Buffalo. But I'm wondering, what your thoughts are on music being able to transcend cultural and physical barriers, um, not just with young people, but with any listeners, and to teach them how to, despite our differences, work together to create something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, music is an art form that you cannot do. You can do it alone, but
Yeah.
we usually perform with others. And as in life, we don't do anything alone. We are always, or should be always, thankful to someone else,
Yes.
even to the person who created this table
Yeah.
or this chair
These
or these microphones. Always there has been someone before us, and the same with, well, in music is more evident. I mean, you can see that when an orchestra is playing, all those different instruments are with people behind those instruments with different backgrounds, coming from different cities, are all together performing and pursuing one common goal.
Yes.
And so the orchestra, I think, is the most easy way to put that music is really like a democracy.
Yes.
Like
you nailed that. That's exactly what I was thinking.
A lot of people pursuing a common goal. Everyone is important. Everyone is necessary. Everyone's voice is contributing to the whole. So I think we had something we own in my own ensemble. We said always that the whole is more than the little parts together separately, and I firmly believe in that. That we can make a difference together.
Yeah.
Also, we can make a difference individually. I think that we have the responsibility as well as individuals to make a contribution to our communities and societies. But when you do it like with others, I don't know, the energy,
the
power,
positive power.
is immense. Yeah, it's enormous.
There's a saying, no one wins unless we all win.
Oh, that is beautiful.
But I always thought music, when you're playing in any kind of ensemble, even if it's with one other person, it really, really underscores that idea and makes it real. I'm wondering, through the Music for Youth programs and in your own experience, do you think that when young people are experiencing an orchestra for the first time, are they able to sense that? Do you think that this makes an impression that, wow, everyone here is different? They have their own voice, but they're also contributing that to the larger good.
Yeah. Well, this is the main purpose of this year Youth Orchestra program, which is the secret formula of the orchestra. And the secret formula is teamwork.
Yeah.
So by the end of the show, the kids learn that even though we are all different, we are all here to work together. Yeah. So I don't know, like if an 8-year-old kid will discover that by him or herself. Maybe we as adults, we can show them what is happening behind the orchestra. It's absolutely, the orchestra setting is a big example of that, of collaboration.
Yes.
But we need collaboration with everything, in organizations, in communities, at home with our family partners. We need to collaborate, because if not, nothing gets done.
I think, and these are, it's easy to say that these are dark times, that there's a divisiveness in people. I've noticed in this country, certainly. Obviously, it's not just this country. But I do feel that during these trying and kind of dark times, music's, importance and significance becomes even more so.
Yeah.
And that it can, in a way, lead us back to where we need to be? I mean, do you believe that, or is that a bit of a pipe dream? Or
No, yeah, I think, but I will say, I will move the collaborative sphere to the individual in this sense, because with music you can know yourself better if you can pay attention to your emotions when you listen, and you can connect with your own sense of, kindness, or if you are crying, you can ask yourself, why I am crying, or it can help you to unblocked. No, when you have blocks, no, it's not the word, right? When you are blocked, with something that you need to resolve, or even outside of classical music as well. I mean, if you need to get something done, you put uplifting music,
whatever that is for you,
whatever that is for you, and you go through, and the same, I think, is that connection. In order to connect with others, you need to connect with yourself.
Very much.
And so I think the moment that you are at, at your sofa, like with just listening yourself and the music, if you take 10 minutes a day or in between days or whenever you can, that moment of me time will pay off. And I think that will give, if every person can treasure those minutes, and then with that positive energy can go outside to the community and be kind and be connected with others, maybe, yes, is transformative.
Yeah, it's transformative. I guess by finding our better selves, we can find the good in others easier, maybe. You've led orchestras across this country, in Argentina, many other places. I'm wondering, these are different places, right, with different people and different audiences. But I'm wondering, is there a common denominator between all of these audiences? Living in different cultures, growing up differently, perhaps having different sets of values. But then we all come to the music, right? I mean, is there a common denominator that you've observed there between all of these different people?
Yes, I think so. Everyone wants to be happy, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be loved, to be heard, to be respected. And we are curious people. I mean, the human beings as a race, we are curious. So we love to learn something. So if you explain to the audience what they're going to listen or what to pay attention to, etc., that is also appreciated. And then the connection, the moment in which everyone is silent and we experience together like a breath of, here is, or a moment of you exhale together because the music is so beautiful. I think we are all human beings. We are one race, one. I think, we may have different cultures and different languages, or, as I said, foods. I like food a lot, and different foods as well. I think we are human beings, and we are much also like to connect with others.
In Argentina, do you find that people value music in a different way than they do here? I've never been, so I'm asking, in a naive way. Is there
music or
more
classical
value?
Music?
Well, I guess music in general, but classical music in particular, obviously, because that's the core of what we're talking about. Is it valued more in the culture than it is here?
No, I will not say more or less. I will say we value music a lot, and it's a very social. Music is part of our culture for sure. It's in every event, as here. I think. Classical music, we have like pockets of people, or no, I will not say people, cities where classical music has more a larger audience. I think mainly is part of, I don't know, close to the capitals, there are conservatories, so people can know more about music. Maybe like here, when you go to the countryside, there are less institutions you can learn music, and so we receive what is in the context,
right?
So and so it's just if you move to another place, you will receive other influences, So I don't think that people like or dislike. I think it's a matter of getting to the information, to the education, and also going through like it's not going through the word. It's like surpass the fear of is old music. I will not like. I don't like it per se. Well, give it a try, and then. And maybe you don't like it, and maybe you don't like it now, but in 10 years you maybe can give another try.
That's right.
And
it's never too late or too early.
and we as kids, we don't like vegetables,
right.
But then we grow up and
you realize they're good for you.
And then we eat. But nothing is forever in life. So if you don't like it now, it's okay. Maybe in 5 years, 10 years, 15, 25. Who knows?
Sure. And in classical music in particular, I've always found it funny that, classical music, I mean, that it's such a broad amount of, that's not the right word, but amount of, it can cover everything from, I don't know, Wagner to, something romantic like Debussy or something.
Yeah, it's
and
so
it seems
different.
To me, if you don't like Wagner, perhaps you find that, whoa, that's too dramatic and overbearing for me.
Yeah.
Maybe this would appeal to you.
Yes.
There's so much within it.
Yeah. There is a lot of flavors.
Yeah, a lot of flavors.
A lot of nuances and spices.
Yeah. It's
talking about food again.
That's right. Yeah. You're making me hungry.
Yeah. No, but
You've been an advocate for Latin American composers. And it seems like the music of Latin America offers a pretty great case study in, cultural diversity, complexity. Can you talk about what the work of Latin American composers can teach us? I know that's a broad question, but I know it's something that you've been interested in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's a very rich category of music because of immigration, slavery. There is so many ingredients, Native Americans there. So I think it is so rich. If you can, and it's so diverse and different. The same rhythm we have in Argentina with the same name, you can find it like in Venezuela, and it will sound completely. For instance, the cumbia in that, which is like a national. I am not an expert, so I will not say that is a national thing, but for Colombia, but it's very important in Colombia. We have cumbia as well, and it's completely different. And for us, is as important as too. But the influences have been so different, and if you through music you can learn about the history of these countries, and sometimes it's painful to read what happened, and other times is powerful because after all these we have all that now that we value and is so rich. And everyone has its own voice. Well, the same with Spanish. Even though we all speak Spanish, everyone has its own accent or its own dialect. And still there is place for individuality in the large
Yes.
in the whole, right? So I think, going back and forth from individual to community, I think that we cannot like do one thing or the other.
Yeah.
Because if not, we can say, oh yeah, Colombia's cumbia is better than Argentinian's cumbia.
No, they're just
I think
different,
both,
right?
both are good, and both are. And Colombia has for instance, maybe I think they have they were the first ones or the ones who created the rhythm, but then, well, as everything in music or in culture, a dish was created in one way, and then we added something else, and we have evolved, and yeah, and I think is the evolution is something that we experience because we get older. We we do evolution in our bodies all days.
Yeah.
So it's natural that things are not static and they change, and we have to embrace those changes.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We've talked a lot about music's, ability to transform communities and individuals within those communities. But can you talk? You did a little bit, but a little bit more about how music has transformed your own life, like why music matters to you.
Yeah.
Why is it worth devoting your life to?
Well, yes. Music spoke to me. Since I was a kid, as I mentioned, I now remember when you told me about your home being full of instruments. I remember being, I don't know, maybe I was 10 or 9, that I went to a birthday. You go to a peer birthday, and everyone was eating sandwiches and Coca-Cola, and I saw a guitar in one corner. And you know what? I didn't care about all that. I remember I was by myself with the guitar. I was not the guitar like this, but the guitar was horizontal. And I was just immersed in the strings, just playing. And actually, my parents came to pick me up, and I was not with the kids. I was with the guitar by my own. Like, that was a beautiful moment of self encounter, self connection with myself, and then yes, you grew up, and also music is a lot of imagination. So when I was a teenager, also, for instance, something also another story. I loved Aladdin, the movie, and I think it was in '94 anyways. But the music of the soundtrack of Aladdin is incredible. Yes. I think it's one of the best Disney, I don't know. But it's a real orchestra. It's not synthesizers or nothing.
That's part of why it's...
And I was, I think my parents hated me and my siblings. We were fans of that cassette, and we in the car back and forth. But I was able, with the music, I was able to imagine. I was able to see things, and at that moment, I was going to the School of Dance. I did ballet for 10 years as well, and I remember. Maybe it was 12, 13, I remember. And I went to the director of School of Dance and said, I have a new ballet. It's called Aladdin. And you know what? I draw the stage and the first 2 scenes. And I don't know, that took me out of this planet. I was completely immersed in that transformative, if you want, moment of creativity. And I don't know, but I feel so expansive. My brain expands when you create, when you are doing something new. And I love to do that. And music allows me to connect with that moment of expansion, of creation.
And return to it.
Yeah. And it's so personal because it's the ballet never never came through.
No, but the idea.
But the idea, and and I don't know, the amount of energy and illusion and imagination that the amount of hours of thinking about that, it's better than Google. No.
Oh.
No, I haven't.
So well said. I couldn't agree more.
But, no, Google. Thank you, Google. But it makes our lives much easier. But yes, I think it's very valuable and it's transformative in a way.
I love that story of you discovering the guitar. Do you play the guitar now?
Well, I will tell you another story. When I started music formally, I wanted to study music. There was no room for piano. I wanted piano because, again, my parents had a couple of friends who had a piano at home. So my delight was to go to their home just to play the piano. And again, I was a kid. So I asked my parents to study music. But the conservatory, piano, violin, guitar are the most popular instruments. So there was no room, there was no available spots for piano. But they say, well, we have a guitar. And I was so eager to start and say, I don't care. Let's start with guitar. And I did 1 year of guitar, and I went with my dad. He always wanted to study guitar. He is not a musician, nothing. He was 40, I was 10. And we shared the guitar lesson, and then I was going to the theory classes with the kids, and he was going with the adults. But
that's really cool.
Next year, I changed to piano. But yes, I play 3 chords: A major, E, and maybe I don't know, D minor or something. 3 chords, which allows me to
write any pop song.
Yeah, allows me to but to play some songs. I remember that. My parents bought me I love the Beatles. Bought me a Beatles guitar with all the chords book,
There's some good chords in that music.
Yes. Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. So
do you still find, obviously, conducting is its own instrument, like the orchestra is then your instrument, right? In a way.
Yeah.
Do you still find that you have a personal, individual relationship with a particular instrument that you return to that, kind of fortifies your own musical growth?
Yeah. Well, as conductor, I sing sometimes the lines and singing the phrase. Singing is always there. I will not say I have a particular instrument. Sometimes I am even astonished and wow, this is incredible how the composers do the orchestration and how they match the sounds, and they create these new textures or new sound that is called I don't know, horn oboe. It's one line. It's a new an organ setting that is a horn oboe. So cool. So line. And yes, and finding balance in the orchestration and finding, I think music is always a 3-dimensional experience. So finding the background and the figure, the space in between. Maybe it's crazy what I'm saying, but the space in the sound. So you have a background which is the accompaniment, and then you have on the front is it's a texture, you can touch it. You have on the front the principal melody, and creating those games with perspective in the sound is not.
That's everything. That's arrangement.
And the most crazy things is we cannot touch it,
right.
We cannot see it, and it's so ephemeral that it will end as soon as it ends. It's over.
As soon as the last note reverberates.
Yes.
Until next time.
And it will be unique because tomorrow will be different, because we are different people tomorrow. And so
So the same symphony can sound different, even if it's played to the same score, and it's just a different day, and the air in the room is different that day. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it never gets old.
Yeah.
So what are you? Anything particular you're excited about in your new role and in the coming year? There's so much. I mean,
yes, this season I am conducting 3 pops.
Yeah.
So I did my first with Aida Cuevas and was beautiful. And I am looking forward to the next 2. One is Neil Diamond, and the other one is in March for Women of Jazz.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And that will be beautiful as well. Yeah. And then my regular concerts with the family concerts. They're always super energetic. I will say we had the symphonic spectacular concert, the Halloween, and now we are preparing the Jingle Bell Jam for Christmas, and just my regular duties, but also enjoying every part of it. Side by side with the BAFPA students. We do it once per year as well. We bring a Sphinx artist to play along with the BPO, and we bring high schoolers which are the same age of our artists, so they can connect better. And we have different programs. I think the BPO educational department is amazing, astonishing. The amount of things they are producing, and I am part of that. I am proud and also honored to be part of that department as well.
I've seen in my own family, my own son benefited from these, and I've seen so many people in the community benefit from it. So thank you, Fernanda. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Absolutely. We'll have to talk again, because I can tell that there's more to talk about.
Yes.
We could just talk about the guitar for a long time.
I am. You are the expert, probably. I'm not but I am here. I can play my 3 chords.
Awesome. We'll switch. I'll play piano in a rudimentary way, because that's not my primary instrument. But thank you so much for spending time with me here today, and for all you're doing for Buffalo.
Oh, thank you.
We're happy you're here.
Thank you.